is just fantastic. Captain's Log, Subdate 21029.4. We have just been alerted by the shuttle pod that we will soon be leaving the Cacopolis waters, and it appears we will be entering a region where R&R could be considered. I may well take one of the pods out for a spin, and then deadlock the entire Defiant because seriously, I can't trust Bork. Welcome everyone to This Week at Twitter, or Twat. Today we have 6 subjects I'd like to go through because I was too lazy to peruse Twitter for more than 5 minutes this week. Before we start, because the clocks went back in the United Kingdom, the political recap stream normally hosted on Moistonian Live at 9:30 PM GMT will instead be hosted at 11 PM GMT. Link to the channel down below. So to start, we are going to go with the future King of England, Prince William. Yeah, we're not going to touch Harry for once. It's quite a refreshing feeling. He was courtesy of ET Canada, up high on the What's Happening tab on Twitter. Wasn't trending, but oh well, where he has been dubbed His Royal Thighness. Why is that, you ask? Because while on a walk, the Duke of Cambridge was distracted by some KFC and decided to have a little look. Here's the picture. Can anyone notice the distinct lack of thick thighs? I find this to be disturbing. How dare he look healthy? What made this more amusing to me was KFC themselves got in on the joke by tweeting out, William whispered quietly to himself, "Oh, I just can't wait to be a wing." Thing is, if they're referring to him as His Royal Thighness, surely you'd want to start referring to drumsticks. But as we all know, because he's English, you know damn well Prince William's going to be a breast man. Something which KFC themselves acknowledge in subsequent tweets, where they regret not calling him His Royal Thighness. This is one of the very few times where I'm on the side of KFC when it comes to them at least playing along with the joke. I'm not a big fan of KFC because they don't treat their chickens right. And when William becomes king, he will be called King Thigh, Thick Thigh, King of all the Thigh realms. You're welcome. Next, I'd like to talk about Lauren Chen, aka Roaming Millennial, who has decided to throw down a gauntlet and start a war by saying cereal is pretty much just kibble for humans. Sounds to me like you've not had muesli or porridge. And this kind of fighting language is unacceptable behaviour. I would argue it is in fact hate speech. And before we continue, I now have to ask, does this mean that Roaming Millennial has been stealing food from her dog Jellybean? Have you been eating kibble? Did you try it with milk and sugar and mix in some Lucky Charms? Or did you just dip them in your Fruity Pebble milk? The next 2 subjects we're going to talk about concern the US election. Now I do apologise, but there are certain behaviours that have been cropping up, and they did it 4 years ago. I found it to be unacceptable then, I find it unacceptable now. I could call this Americans Ruin Everything and then just say elections, but I'll be honest with you, you guys and your elections, they entertain me, they sustain me, they nourish me. So to the first tweet of interest, exactly how much money do I need to give the Democratic Party for them to pull their stuff together? Get angry, get mean, get low. We care about people, awesome. That doesn't mean we can't occasionally slide a kniff between some person's barbecue ribs. Yes. Well, that's a tolerant tweet, isn't it? Yes. Much kindness by Emily. The next is a reply from Tim Erickson. Figuratively, I hope? To which Dave Newton replies, there are far-right Republicans that have no issue shooting people for no reason. Not figurative when lives are literally at stake. Figuratively. Dems are behind when it comes to societal manipulation, because that's a contest you want to win. Trending towards optimism and rationality. It's debatable. I'm sure there are some who are Democratic and some that are Republican that have rationality somewhere deep within them. You might find it on the edge of that kniff between those smoky ribs. Ignoring the reality of the populace. They did ignore the reality. It's why they spent the last 4 years trying to unseat a president via an impeachment which was entirely voted down party lines when the evidence didn't show anything they claimed it showed. It was a tad tragic, and it made me chuckle. And by the way, I know there was nothing in that report, because Trups LP and I went through the Mueller report on the Political Recap stream series. I can't be bothered to go and get the streams, but by all means go there and find them. Best of luck to you. In keeping with the theme of politics, your election is incredibly important. Many people are being very vocal about this. So we're going to go with a video that was shared via Twitter that comes from TikTok. The tweet that shared it reads, "So her dad is about to pass away, and her whole shtick is to guilt the poor dude for voting for the politician she doesn't like, and then film this whole thing for viral clout once he finally submits? Kinda sick. Not gonna lie. Here's the video." Interesting to note, I've had to render this video 3 separate times because the audio originally from this video, which is linked down below, was copyright claimed by some bellends, so you get to hear my outro music instead. As you can see though from these cards, it's really heartwarming, really uplifting. Nothing screams uplifting more than bullying your parent. Well done, you're a classy bitch. When I first saw the video, my thought was, that is actually quite disturbing, that you've bullied someone into submitting on principles because you should get what you want, and not what they believe they want. That is a cliché case of a child bullying their parent to surrender because the parent is on their way out. Everyone has seen that happen during their lifetime. Chances are, if you've not seen it happen, you're from one of those rather imaginary families. Air quote around imaginary, we all know what I really mean. And as far as this goes, it is classless. Vote for whoever you want to vote for. Don't bully others into giving you what you want. And doing it for clout reeks of bad tactics. And now bad optics. Moving on from that, we're going to go with Will Westcott, who retweeted, well, an image from a tweet by Boot on Neck, which we'll get to in a moment. The tweet he wrote, "Boning your big-breasted teacher is a fantasy most every boy on the planet has had. Can confirm. Nobody considers it grape, and if it was forcible grape, that too is a fantasy. Some would say it is even hotter. Innumerable works of fiction have been dedicated to this fetish." So what did Boot on Neck tweet? A correction to a New York Post article. 33-year-old rapes a 15-year-old kid and only gets a week in jail, but look at the photo they used. The creepy teacher epidemic rages on. This is the double standard where if it was a male teacher and a 15-year-old girl, or boy for that matter, he'd be in prison for a long time. But because it's a female, and if you bother to read the article, you'll notice, oh look, mental health is referenced here. Right. Yeah, no. This is, well, grape without the G, really, isn't it? Yes, while it is a fantasy many kids had, and I can attest to that, even I then knew, had my teacher ever crossed that line, she should be in prison for it. Any teacher who does that, they're in a position of power and privilege. It is grooming in the very simplistic sense of it. There is no grey area. Your job is to educate, which is why it is considered a form of manipulation. And there is an imbalance, one I fully intend to address in the men's rights opinion video that I am still working on when I get to it. That will come out on this channel soon. So to the last one, and this one's strange. This one's really strange. Miami Autumn. Dear Twitter support, minor attraction is a normal variation in human sexuality. 3 words I'm not going to say are all normal sexual orientations. Minor attraction is unchosen, unchangeable, and normal. Sincerely, a normal person with a normal sexual orientation. To anyone reading this who is confused or who wants to learn more about minor attraction, check out this brief post I made where I answer some of people's common questions about maps. Stay safe and healthy, folks. That was tweeted by a preschool teacher. So, somebody promoting maps has gone to Twitter support for support. Is this a Poe? I feel like this might be a Poe. I can't be sure yet, but I'm sure we'll be able to work it out eventually together if we can be bothered. If not, we'll just chastise them for being an absolute moron. Anyway, as we're done here, I would love to know what you think. So please do let me know in the comments down below if I don't see you tonight for the political recap stream with Trups LP on the Moisky Live channel. Have a fantastic Friday and subsequent weekend, and thank you all for listening.